Bonjour. Today we'll be talking about the 1996 album by Spice Girls, Spice. Now, this album came out at a time when radio was kind of a wasteland of one-hit wonders. A lot of artists who were coming out with one or two songs that were rather large and popular, but never maintained that popularity and were pretty much done by the next year. And a lot of people thought the Spice Girls would be the same. Their debut single, Wannabe, went to number one in several countries. And it was a bit of a novelty type song. I'll admit, when I listen to the song myself, it's more about fun and energy than anything else. The song does scream one hit wonder, if any song really kind of does. But they did follow it up with some really well-crafted pop songs of various genres. They show to be good at ballads, dance songs, disco, and R&B. So their legacy to this day actually remains pretty intact in the pop world. I think they're seen as somewhat as pop legends in their own right. All five girls have their distinct personality, and the world really cared about them when they were famous. They had a movie, Spice World, which did pretty well. And when they broke up, it was headline news. When Jerry left, it was all over the papers and all over the news. Compare that to modern day with like Pussycat Dolls. When they broke up, nobody really cared. I mean, it made some news, but they were kind of out there, out the door. It wasn't any big surprise. And when Fifth Harmony broke up, again, I looked for like some kind of, reaction from the world in terms of the media, and I really didn't see that. I can kind of compare them, I guess, to Destiny's Child in terms of popularity, because Destiny's Child were pretty popular as a girl group, but I would argue that Spice Girls made more impact in a less amount of time. I'm kind of like Paul Abdul. They had two extremely popular albums, and then Jerry left, and they went on to release Forever, which was much more R&B flavored. It sounds like something Destiny's Child would have released, or Pink on her debut. Only much better crafted songs, better melodies, and better vocals. But it's with their first album, I think, that they really made their biggest impact, and to this day, I think this is a classic album. It's not without its flaws, but it's certainly quite good. And I remember being a kid, and when they came out, I wasn't a fan of Wannabe, but when Say You'll Be There and Two Become One came out, and then Spice Up Your Life, I really wanted their CDs. And I remember like having to hide that because I was a boy, so I didn't tell anybody, like, oh my god, hey, I want this album, can you please get it for me? I felt ashamed of it because it was the 90s, and it was just like internalized homophobia based on just like the culture. And but now, I mean, I'm a huge fan. I've seen them in concert in 2008 when they did their reunion tour in New York City. That was fun, and to this day, I still, anytime any posh or baby or sporty, anytime any of them does anything in terms of music or an interview, I'm automatically like into it. Like I want to check it out. My favorite, I have to say, is Posh. I think she's the underrated one of the bunch. Victoria Beckham, she's extremely famous to this day for her fashion and being married to David Beckham. But she has, I think, the best voice. Maybe not technically. And I know that a lot of people are like, what? The best voice? I think it's creamy. It's unique. It's not just a simple voice. There's something there. And yes, it's limited. And yes, she can't hit every single key. But when she stays within her range, there's a personality there that I really appreciate, and I always have. Her solo album, she had one in 2001, which was her self-titled album. It was a little bit kind of like Forever, the Spice Girls album, very R&B flavor, Destiny's Child type. It's rather good. The songs are well-crafted pop songs with just a little bit R&B flair. Her follow-up record, Open Your Eyes, never got released. It was recorded as a whole and then shelved. The record company she was with at the time went bankrupt, and unfortunately it was leaked. But unfortunately, she hasn't really done music since. She did some songs with Jay-Z's Rockefeller that were rather disappointing, and they did leak as well. The rest of the Spice Girls all released solo albums. Baby had a 60s themed type career. Very bossa nova, very strong albums. Sporty went for more like the alternative pop type music. For her audience is very strong. She has a loyal fan base. Jerry, she's fun pop. She went to do just songs like "It's Raining Men," like a cover of "It's Raining Men," "Look at Me," and "Calling," which is my favorite song by her. And of course, Scary, who she had two solo albums. One of them was R&B flavored, kind of like Victoria Beckham, only not as strong. I've listened to it. It's just not from. It's not very good. Her second album, it's like a songwriter type R&B pop album. It's not great, but again, I love them all. My favorite, like I said, is Posh, and I would love for her to release more music. I don't need. She wasn't even on the reunion tour for the last one they had in the 2010s. She was not there, so who knows what the future brings for the Spice Girls. But I mean, I'm sure there'll be like maybe one more greatest hits or something. I would love of like unreleased stuff, because the one thing about them is they have really good B-sides, and we'll talk about that. But let's just dive into the album. The first song is Wannabe, and like I said, this was their first single, massive hit. Short song, it's less than 3 minutes, and it's just fun, bubbly, sugary pop. It's about basically, it's kind of an anthem in terms of, like, if you want to be their lover, you've got to get with their friends. It's kind of putting like priorities, which a lot of songs don't do that. Usually songs in the 90s were, I want you, you're so fine, I'll do anything for you, please don't leave. And this song was about, if you want to be with me, you need to get into my world, you need to make sacrifices. And it was, I mean, I know the lyrics are still simple and sing-songy, and the song is very, very simple, but I feel like it had a little bit more to offer in terms of message than most female songs, or even male songs, of the 90s. It wasn't a song about desperation. It was a song about, oh yeah, you want me? You need to work for it. Which, girl power was their motto, and they followed up with it. They had a concept. They have a theme in the album. And I think their images were so strong. Each individual one had their own personality, own image, but as a whole, they definitely had a strong image and strong. I mean, you could argue it was marketing, really good marketing, which I've never seen since or before. But I honestly feel it was just them being them, and they were just really fun and personality. The stuff, in case you're wondering, the Spice Girls did co-write their songs. I'm not sure how much input they had in each song. From what I've heard, Jerry would write a good portion along with Victoria and Emma, and some of the rewrites were done by the other two, or or mixed. Someone basically would write the rough draft, and then the other one would come in and kind of change things a little bit. But they did work with other songwriters and producers. Either way, next song is Say You'll Be There, which was their second single. And this is when I think a lot of people who weren't fans maybe became a little bit of a fan, because this song is much more R&B flavored. It's a song about, again, about girl power. Like, I guess equality in love between both sexes, or both genders, or whoever whoever is in there, in that relationship. It's just a song about equality, I think, in love, in a relationship. Which, again, there weren't a lot of songs about that in the 90s. The 90s was very much the decade of a sappy ballad, a song about, unbreak my heart. Basically, you do it for me. My heart's broken by you. Please unbreak it. Whereas I think with Spice Girls, and by the way, I love Toni Braxton. Not dissing Toni Braxton at all. But with this, I mean, with their concept, I think it's mostly about equality and girl power. And I know this is a silly thing, but it's something that, is sorely lacking now. Say You'll Be There is R&B flavored. It's funky fresh. I don't want to say it's definitely the strongest single on the album, but it's not the strongest song. That's the thing about the Spice Girls. They have hidden nuggets. And I respect any pop group or pop act that has hidden gems, songs you can discover later on. And definitely the Spice Girls have that with this album and their career. The next song is To Become One, which this is the vinyl. So The original version had Jerry singing on the verse. The video version has Posh singing on the verse, and I think Posh does a much better job. I'm kind of this is a re-release, special edition, so I'm surprised they didn't add the version with Posh, which is the famous one. It's the single version. It's the one everybody knows, and honestly, it's the one that's much better. Not sure. I think the note was too hard for Jerry to sing to go up, and Victoria could hit the note, so. I understand like changing it for the single, but when you're releasing the vinyl, I think it would have been okay to do that one line. The song is a romantic ballad. It's there's a little bit of a chill, trip hop-ish pop, very pop type vibe to it. It's definitely the most laid back so far they've had. It's not quite a ballad, it's not a sappy ballad, but it's a song about sex, basically, to become one, and they do advocate safe sex in the song by saying, put it on, be wiser. And the 90s were a good time in terms of like safe sex promotion. That's sorely lacking right now. Nobody talks about condoms or anything anymore at all. But in the 90s they did. Madonna talked about it. TLC wore condoms on their eyes, and the Spice Girls mentioned it in their radio-friendly hits. So there was definitely an agenda there for people to, be safer and be aware of HIV and AIDS. No matter how how younger or if you're straight or gay, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I really commend them to just kind of add that line, just simply because I think when, we always talk about pop being an influence, musicians being influential of the kids, but I think when you take that and you can actually, do something that's, socially responsible, I'm always a fan of that. So the song itself is very well crafted. It's very, very catchy, haunting, beautiful. Definitely one of their best singles. A lot of people might argue it's their best single, and I wouldn't disagree overall. It's not my favorite single by them, but it's definitely one that I love. And I remember it always being on the radio in like 97 or 96. My aunt at the time was moving, and we were like doing a lot of driving and stuff, and I just remember that song was like always on the radio. The next song is Love Thing, which I would say this is kind of a sequel to Say You'll Be There. It has a very similar production, a little bit more laid back, a little different. Kind of sounds like the little sister of Say You'll Be There. Has the same kind of chord progressions at times and and structure. So like Victoria was very prominent in Say You'll Be There. She's also prominent in Love Thing. Which I love. I love any song where Victoria is prominent, and those are the only two where she is. So kind of take it where you can get it for this album. So Love Thing is just another song about how, like, it's not really about equality, but it's more like give the girls what they need. Like stop shoving, stop pushing, just, be chill about love. Don't rush it, But it's kind of like in a cool stance kind of way. Again, it's like Say You'll Be There, so like there's R&B. It's very catchy. And I'm actually surprised when I got the album how much R&B influence there is on the album. You would think it would be pure pop or Euro pop. It's definitely not Euro pop, and which I'm not a big fan of 90s Euro pop overall. So I'm really glad they went for the more American like R&B. I would say R&B dusted pop. I mean, it's not hardcore R&B. There's, I mean, they definitely were influenced by Janet. They were influenced by Michael, and you can definitely see that in the album. The next song is Last Time Lover. This is the weakest of this side. It's a good song. Has a lot more funky bass, and it's more of a Scary Spice, Mel B song. She kind of takes over the more R&B songs. But this one has like a slow groove, still a little dancey, kind of cool. I think that it's successful. It's good. I like it, and it's definitely one to check out, but it's not my favorite, and I think it's the weakest on side A. Next song is Mama. Now, this song I hated for years. I'll be honest. I did not like Mama. growing up. I don't know why, I just didn't. But listening to on vinyl, it's rather beautiful. And it's a song, it's rather random because like pop stars singing about their mother never really happened before. But I think, yeah, I don't know if the marketers were like, oh, we should do a song for Mother's Day or something. But it's beautiful. Like it's a song about, it's a song about your mom, their moms, and how, how they appreciate them now as adults instead of, teenagers trying to get away with things. And it's a very beautiful guitar-based pop ballad, very catchy, very well done, very, very. I think it's the most mature on the album. The one thing about it that there is a choir at the end, which I'm not a big fan of choirs in songs unless it's like a prayer. Even like Madonna's "Nothing Fails," I hate that choir. I hate that choir. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of choirs in songs or chanting for the most part, unless it's like really well done, like in Paul Abdul's Vibeology. That's a good song. This one has a choir, and it's good. I like it. Like I said, it's a beautiful song. It sounds gorgeous on vinyl. Like that's how I became a fan, is listening to it on vinyl. So I would just check that. I mean, it was a single. It was pretty famous, and it's on all the greatest hits. So you'll definitely find it. The next song is "Who Do You Think You Are," which was a single of theirs abroad in Europe. In the U.S., I believe there was remixes released by David Morales, and it's a really good funky disco song. Very different for pop. I'd say this is kind of where they stray the most from pop. Disco really hadn't made its huge comeback yet. Disco in the '90s was still kind of a joke, I guess, and there were a few songs like Madonna's "Deeper and Deeper," and RuPaul's debut album that really took disco and kind of made it modern. But I think with this song, I mean, for being such a pop group and being influenced so strongly by disco, I mean, if you listen to it, it's very influenced by disco. It's not a pop song with disco elements. It's a disco song that's just kind of modern day. And I think it's great that they did that, kind of making disco better, like more popular for their fan base and kind of like introducing it. Again, like the whole nostalgia thing, they probably wanted, people who were fans of music in the '70s to, oh hey, I like a song by the Spice Girls because they pay a nod to that. I don't think it was that. I think it's just a really good, well crafted song, and it's fun, it's funky, and it's super great. The next song is "Something Kind of Funny." It's not the weakest song on the album. It's probably the second weakest song on the album. It's a little forgettable. It's a little simple in terms of the chorus. It's like, we've got something kind of funny going on. It's a good song. It's definitely more energetic than other songs on the album. But it's I would say it's a little forgettable. It's a good song that's forgettable. So you kind of have to be listening to the album in order to appreciate it. You're not just going to pick it out as, oh my God, I want to listen to something kind of funny. But it's a good song, if that makes sense. It's good in context. It's good in context. The next song is "Naked," which is my favorite song of the album and of the Spice Girls of all time. It is a chilled, laid-back, R&B laced pop song about being naked. It's mostly about letting go of inhibitions and fears of, I guess, nudity. But I think it could just be like a metaphor overall of just letting go of your inhibitions and being who you are. I mean, the song doesn't really imply sex. I mean, not really. I mean, kind of. It's not explicit whatsoever, but it's very laid back. It's almost like an attempt at like Sade type music or Enigma. It's just, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not Sade. The Spice Girls are not Sade. They never tried. But I think this is like an attempt to kind of have that kind of song. Very sexy, very chill, very down tempo and atmospheric. It's by far, to me, their best song. I love it. I've played it so many times, even to this day. They performed it live on tour, I think on their first tour. And I mean, it's just a great song. It's very vocally undemanding. The most of it's whispers, not whispers, but like spoken, kind of like Madonna. Jerry speaks through the verses. Emma sings the chorus, and then Mel C sings the middle bridge. Victoria has like one little line in the chorus, and it's so not noticeable, but I love the song anyways, even if it doesn't have enough Victoria. I wish more songs. That's the thing. A lot of these songs don't have a lot of Victoria besides "Say You'll Be There" and "Love Thing." Yeah, she's really not there. But later she was used in albums, more different albums and such. The next song after that is "If You Can't Dance," which is the final song on the album, and I would say by far the weakest. I don't know if maybe they weren't given enough to do on that, like in terms of creative control. Maybe they're given not enough to do in terms of like just here, do it, like no supervision. Because it's not a great song. It has a very repetitive and annoying chorus where they just keep saying "if you can't dance, if you can't dance." It's not great. And then it's the most '90s of the bunch in terms of one hit. It's more one hit wonderish than "Wannabe" if it would have been a single. Which is a shame because we're gonna talk about B-sides. They had really good B-sides, and the best B-side that they ever had was called "Take Me Home," which was kind of like "Naked," where it's this like chill, sexy, seductive type song that was released as the B-side to "Say You'll Be There," and it's amazing. And I kind of wish they would have added that instead of "If You Can't Dance." They could have had like "Naked" and then "Take Me Home" and then finished on "Take Me Home," but they do not. And they had other songs like "Bumper to Bumper" from Wannabe. That song was okay. But I do feel like "Take Me Home" was definitely their strongest B-side of the bunch and, of their entire career. And they had a lot of B-sides that were pretty good. Kind of like Kylie Minogue, who sometimes even their B-sides are better than their actual like album, like than their actual singles. And I don't think "Take Me Home" is better than "Say You'll Be There," but I definitely think it's pretty close, And it's on iTunes now. Finally, it's on streaming. You can actually listen to it as much as you want. And before it wasn't. Forever it just wasn't. And now it is. So you can check out "Take Me Home," which is one of my critic picks of best B-sides of all time. And it sounds nothing like "Wannabe." It sounds nothing like "Say You'll Be There." It's very just chill and laid back and fun and R&B laced pop, and one of my favorite songs by them as well. Later on, they would release "Spice World," their second album, which I feel is a very strong effort, although it misses the R&B flavor that this album has. They definitely went more pop with their second album, and don't get me wrong, I love their second record. From start to finish, I think it's a superly well done album. It's super. Their third album, "Forever," is good. It's not quite as strong. I don't know why. They worked with big producers like Rodney Jerkins and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis on their third record. It's good, but it feels like there's some songs that were just there to fill out the padding. And I know they had some songs recorded in '99 that they never went ahead and released, like "Woman" and such. They performed them on their tour, but they never actually went ahead and released them. So there's a lot to the Spice Girls legacy, a lot more than you think. Maybe not they're not the Beatles, but for the pop fans, for the gay pop fans, in a way they kind of are. Just like this British group that came in, took over for a short amount of time, and then went away and left a huge legacy. The Beatles, of course, lasted much longer, and I would I'd like to do a Beatles review one day. The Beatles lasted longer in terms of sheer release material, but I would argue that Spice Girls made just as much impact in their time. It really was like a British invasion. They had an actual scripted movie come out, not a documentary, not like some kind of whatever. An actual movie was written with them and for them, whatever, and was a hit. And to this day, people kind of look back at that movie and still appreciate it. I certainly do. I don't know if it's nostalgic because I did kind of grow up with them, but like I said on my other videos, I grew up with I liked Alanis Morissette growing up, but I'm not a big fan of Alanis Morissette today. I don't listen to her stuff out of nostalgia. I listen to Spice Girls. I really just like it. I think it's well crafted pop music, and a lot of people don't take them seriously, and I understand that. They're not trained musicians. They're not the best singers. They were formed by an ad in the paper. There's a lot to dislike about the Spice Girls, but I think despite that, they climbed that wall to become worldwide stars and maintain that. And I think a lot of that was just their personalities. And I don't know, you could call it Power Rangers type thing, where they were so marketed as individual something, like Posh and Scary and Baby Spice or Sporty Spice or Ginger Spice. They were so marketed a certain way that it's kind of hard to forget that, because it's so like entrapped in your mind, I would say. But either way, I know that a lot of you are still fans of them. I would pick up the vinyl. It sounds amazing on vinyl. Songs like Wannabe don't sound like one-hit wonders on vinyl. They sound like well-crafted pop songs because you can hear more elements of the song. Naked on vinyl is an experience. I would definitely listen to that with like the lights low, some candles, a glass of wine. Just relax and enjoy it. I kind of wish they would have had a little bit more chill songs in a row, because because you have Naked and Last Time Lover, and then of course Take Me Home. I think those three in a row would have been amazing, but that's not how it works. So let's take a look at the record. Okay, so you have the front cover, the back cover, okay. And this is the special edition white vinyl, which I got on sale for $10, sealed at the store at Fnac. This is the inner sleeve, which I kind of feel like this maybe was their idea for an album cover. It kind of looks like it, although it's horrible, but anyway. Then you have the lyrics. They have every lyric. They just thank basically everybody. It literally says, thank you everybody who has a part in this, which I think that's fine. And this is the vinyl. It is white. It is a white vinyl. Oh yes. Then you can see the label just has the back album ring. I'm not sure what the ring is because they never went with it. It never became a thing in the videos or in any way like publicity, but it's on the album cover, it's on the back album cover, it's on the vinyl. I think maybe someone wanted to do something with it and it was never done. But I'm curious to know like what everyone's favorite song is by the Spice Girls. If if you like the album, your comments on the album itself, and like your idea of the legacy of the Spice Girls. Because like I said, I think their legacy is much greater than say Pussycat Dolls or Fifth Harmony, who I feel really made no impact. They had some simple pop songs and went away. Whereas Spice Girls, I feel like, I don't know, like they were like aliens landing on the earth, taking over. And I'm still a big fan of them, and I still love them. There's this thing with the Spice Girls, or with music in general, how we have this nostalgia for back then, because whatever people think that's nostalgia, whatever. But I would argue, I just want to say one more time, I truly just think they make really good music, and I'm glad that they're still touring every 10 years. It's possible they'll do it in late 2029 or something. And anyway, so yeah, tell me what you think about the album. What you thought of it, your favorite songs, your least favorite songs. Please let me know your least favorite songs. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know. If you like the video, please like it. And if you love it, please subscribe. And again, please donate to my non-existing Patreon.